All right. Good morning. Well, it's morning for me. Welcome to another episode of Arise and Thrive. Um, this is your host, Elizabeth Paris, and I'm super excited to talk to you more today about order and organizing in October. This is a big theme for me right now. I'm actually taking the next few months and I want to be done by Christmas, but I'm going through my home, each area, storage areas, pantries, office, mudroom, and just organizing and getting things in order. I'm decluttering, I'm beautifying and organizing. And so this is a fun theme for me because personally, I'm like, oh yeah, this is going to be awesome. I'm going to kick some butt at this because in my coaching, I feel like I've moved forward and I've got clients and I'm working hard and I'm doing things, but there's a certain level of order that needs to happen in your home in order for you to feel like you can move forward and do your best for others and for your own self as you're moving forward and progressing in life. So one of these areas is getting rid of clutter, beautifying and organizing. And that is just a huge area that will bring more joy into our home as we do this. And if you were on last week's episode, we talked a little bit about how clutter actually causes procrastination. And so all of us have things that we want to be doing, like getting out and exercising and, calling that friend to hang out or having somebody over to dinner that we felt like, oh, it'd be fun to connect with them, or putting something together for our family, a vacation or this or that. And if we can get rid of more clutter in our homes, if we can get it out of our homes, then we can be better about not procrastinating and moving forward on the things that are most important to us and making our priorities happen. So anyway, order in October is a fun thing. I don't want you to be like, oh, organizing my home, because that's kind of how I feel about it. But you know what? I'm working through it because I'm bringing that excitement to it and I'm making it fun and getting some support. And we've got a cool Facebook group going. So as you are trying to move forward and decide, okay, which area do I want to work on? What do I want to tackle first? What needs my attention the most? And then do I want to focus on decluttering that area? That's probably a big area for most people, is that we need to do some decluttering and then looking at, okay, how can I organize this better so it flows better? If it's a junk drawer, how can I utilize those pens and Post-it notes and then get some of that other stuff out of there that I don't need? So then decluttering, organizing, and then even beautifying. Like maybe you want to get some new little containers or totes that get you excited, a little more excited about having that space organized and using it in a way that will help you more. And then maybe your kids can find what they need too, and your husband, and just keeping those systems so that things flow better in your home and there's more time for peace. The more chaos we have, the more frustrating it can be just to do that regular everyday things. If you're trying to run out the door and you can't find a purse or a jacket or a keys or a coat or shoes or whatever, it adds so much more stress. So we're just going to declutter, release some of that chaos, help us get more focused and organized so that we can move forward and have things flow better in our lives. And today, the big focus is just doing a little bit every day. And the reason why this is a focus is because, so this is from personal experience. A couple years ago, I tried one method of cleaning where you go from from room to room, and you really dive in and you get things, you pull everything out and you go through and you decide, okay, is this something I love and need and use, or is this something that I don't use and I don't necessarily love? And then you make two piles. It's like the keeping pile and the getting rid of pile. And then you find a home you get rid of all that stuff, that the clutter or the things that you don't need. And then you find homes for all those things that you need. And this approach, you're going to go through your home all in one sweep. It might take months. But you're going through and you're touching all the items in your home, and you're going through all the items in your home. You're getting rid of those things that you're not using and don't love, and then you're finding a place for the others. And I really liked this method. It does take a lot of time. And, if you
say you're working, or say your kids are in school and you're working, or say you've got a lot going on with family. I've been my sister and I, we were caretaking for our dad, and so we weren't home a lot. So there would be no option for us to do something like this. The time we had home, we were really wanting to spend time with family and things like that. So the other approach, and if you have those big chunks and you can do that, you have a weekend and you're cleaning out a storage room, you have on your weekend, you're cleaning out your garage or a shed, or really kind of diving in and doing that. That's awesome. Those big chunks are valuable. However, I want to bring attention to the value of breaking up that project over time and keeping that consistency to move forward in the goal in small increments. And we can do this by just using 15 minutes a day. 15 minutes a day can transform your home. It can start transforming your life, and it can bring more order into your life. And you can see yourself as a being of order, a person who enjoys order and is good at order. And I kind of laugh about this because growing up, my mom was a teacher. My dad had grown up in a home. He was born in 1945. That's right as World War II was ending. Things were very scarce then. Food was very scarce for my dad. He said that he had two kinds of food, small and big potatoes, right? And that was his meals. And so he saved everything. And my dad's very smart. He's a fix-it guy. He can fix anything. So he had a basement full of old electronics and bike parts and car parts and you name it, he had it, like he just had stuff on hand, because when he was growing up, he didn't have what he needed. And so when he started to acquire things, he's like, oh, there could be a use for this. And so anyway, so our home growing up, we had a lot of things. My mom being a teacher and all of her things, my dad being a fixer and a collector and all of his things. And so we had a basement full of quite a bit of stuff. And so anyway, so growing up, order was not our strong point in the Fuhrer family. And that's okay. I felt like as I moved away to college and I had my own space, I felt like I could manage my space pretty well. But this wasn't a strong area for me. I was okay at it. So you put a person, I guess, who's okay at order, and then you compound that with a spouse, and then 5 children, 5 boys. And then you bring in pets and, all these things. And we were laughing the other day because my son was doing a speech and he was talking about himself. And he said, yeah, and we have 14 pets. And I'm like, 14 pets? And we started counting the 3 goldfish and the 3 chickens and 2 ducks. We do have 14 pets is what we had a week ago. And then one of our frogs got out. And so we're at 13 right now. So, but I mean, adding in the kids, all the stuff for all these people, all the stuff for these pets, all of the space that all of our things take up. And even just like our mudroom, I feel like our mudroom is a hard spot for us to keep organized, switching out the shoes between different seasons and the coats and jackets, and then just getting kids to hang up their backpacks and put their shoes away. Sometimes that's a struggle. So, I have a lot of area. Our family has a lot of area to increase our order and our organization and to bring in more peace and trade it out for that chaos that goes on in a home with kids and clutter and people and activities going on. And so anyway, so we get to pick an area for order. And the area that I'm picking for October is my office. So anyway, you can just look in your home and be like, okay, which area needs some attention? Which area needs less clutter, more order, more beautifying? Which area can I pick? So as you pick that area, and maybe last week you picked that, if you listened to our podcast last week, then you want to move forward and stay accountable by spending 15 minutes a day in that area. So, you may get distracted. Like for me, I wasn't ready to tackle my office. And so earlier this week, I went out and I organized my patio and I got that all going. And it's not bad to have a little break or a breather. And I'm an outside person, so I'm just saying, if you get a little overwhelmed with what you're doing, and 15 minutes should be doable. It shouldn't be that overwhelming, but sometimes we just want to avoid it because it feels overwhelming or whatever. So, going outside, going for a walk, or doing some order outside, or some weeding or whatever, some winterizing, whatever is your thing that you want to do to have a break, that's totally fine. But try to pick that area that you're going to work in at least 15 minutes a day, and then do the other if you have more time. Maybe you want to go out and trim your trees, or cover your barbecue and start putting things away for the winter or whatever. And that's great. But try to get that one area you pick, spending that 15 minutes in it every day. And then if you wanted to do more like, hey, I'm going to go through and unclutter my email a little bit today as my bonus. But definitely get that area that you've picked to be, to really focus in and get that 15 minutes that you are wanting. And I love the idea of that 15 minutes. We had a church meeting a while back, and this lady shared a story about how you want to have these life-changing experiences for your kids, maybe like a spiritual experience or a family vacation that's just like, wow, like we're more unified and closer and whatever. But she talked about how a lot of the things we do are just like a layer of a sheet of paper. And she's talking about trying to turn on a light switch. And if you were trying to turn on a light switch and you put a piece of paper down and stepped on that, and you tried to turn on the light switch because you're not quite tall enough, it wouldn't make a huge difference, right? People would laugh about that. However, if you have that accumulation of paper upon paper upon paper upon paper upon paper, soon it would be the size of a ream of paper, which would actually make a difference. And it would be like a stepping stool to get higher, to get to where you want to be. So as you have picked this area and you do these 15 minutes a day, it's like you're putting down that piece of paper every day. And by the end of the month, you'll have that ream of paper or whatever, so you can turn on that light switch, or that area will be improved. It'll be less cluttered, more organized, and more beautified. And so that's the idea here, is how can I bring more order? And not all of us have the weekend to spend to do it. Not all of us have 3 hours in a day, but we all can take 15 minutes in a day. And the things that help with this is to stay accountable. So like you could be like, well, I'm not going to do my 15 minutes a day or today because I have all this stuff going on. But if you stay accountable, like that will help you realize, okay, I'm going to say what I'm doing today, and then I can be accountable if I do it or not, right? And that way you can report in. One way you can do this is with a friend or something, but we have offered you a way to do it super easy for this month, and we may keep it going after this month. But there's a Facebook group we've created just for this purpose, for this accountability, and it's called Order in October. And so if you haven't already received an invite or haven't seen that yet, go ahead on Facebook and search out Order in October, find the group, request to be a part of it, and we'll let you in, and you can tell us what area you're working on, and you can be accountable for if you're doing that 15 minutes a day. And the idea is to just do that little bit a day, which will add up over time to be a huge amount. And if you start to look at, okay, how much is 15 minutes a day if you times that by a week? And so 15 minutes times 7 days in a week, you're at 105 minutes. So is there any, that's like an hour and over an hour and a half, right? An hour 45, actually, almost 2 hours that you're working on this area. And it would be probably hard in a work week to take that hour and 45 minutes and just focus in and get things done in a chunk. But look, if you take that 15 minutes every day, you've got that chunk of time that's over an hour, that you're almost 2 hours, that you're working on that area and making improvements and bringing that order to that area. So then when you're looking at a month, what's 15 minutes a day times 30 days? We're at, I just pulled out my calculator real quick, 450 minutes. And 450 minutes divided by 60, that's 7.5 hours in 1 month so it's almost 8 hours in a month. That would be like a whole Saturday, right? So if you just do that 15 minutes every day, you are claiming that time. You are putting down those little pieces of paper that will add up to something bigger, or that ream of paper, or that result that you want. And October has 31 days. So right there, you're really close to 8 hours of work, of progress towards having more joy and peace in your home. So, okay, the other day after I had cleaned my back porch, and I cleaned the back windows. So I did my kitchen window where I look out when I do my dishes, and I did my back windows just so that I could look out and have a clear view of this newly cleaned space. And so as I was doing dishes, I had cleaned off my little shelf in my windowsill, that's what you call it. And it was clean, and I had my clean window as I'm looking out, and I just had this moment of like, oh, like that's how I could describe it. It was like, oh, I looked out the window, and it looked beautiful out on my patio. And I looked through my clear window, and I was like, oh, like I can see my view is beautiful. And that's how you feel when you start to declutter and get rid of things, because you just have that space. And sometimes we think, no, I don't want to give it up. It's a false sense of security if we have these things, if we have these attachments. And don't get me wrong, we need some things, but think about how great you feel when you go stay at like an Airbnb, a VRBO, or a hotel, and there's like nothing there. You bring your bag in and almost kind of start to fill the space. But as you get there, there's nothing there really. I mean, there's the furniture, but everything has clear surfaces, everything's freshly vacuumed, and it just feels good. That's part of the fun of going on vacation, is like you're taking a break from your stuff or your space that might be filled, and opening yourself up to a open space that's nice. And so just remember that as you clean, take that moment to enjoy it. My family and I, we went out and ate on that back patio, and I just sat there. We have a little water fountain that sits on our patio, just a cheapo one from Michael's, nothing super special, but just hearing that water sound. And we're just sitting there at the table, and everyone's eating, and we're enjoying nature and being outside. And that space that was clean, the patio cement that had been cleaned off, I had gotten out there, and I'd gotten rid of a planter that needed some repairs done to it, and I had scrubbed off the tie-dye that we had dripped on the cement out there about a month ago as we did some tie-dye projects. And so with those couple of things gone, and the cement just freshly sprayed off and clean, and I dusted up above in our patio overhang where the spider webs were and things like that. And it was just nice. I had sprayed off the siding, so there was no more dust on it. And we just enjoyed that space. So first, like as you're getting rid of the clutter, encourage yourself. Be like, if I let go of this, I'll make room for some more joy, for something more beautiful, and that kind of awe moment. And so then you make space for that, and then really take the time to enjoy that space after you declutter and beautify and organize that space. So like we had our meal out there the next day. You could pick to read a book in that area, or spend a little time there doing something that you want to do, playing a game with family members or whatever. So definitely commit to that 15 minutes a day, work on it daily, and then enjoy and take time to kind of celebrate that moment of cleaning and organizing and getting those things spruced up so that you can enjoy that more space, more freedom. It's just liberating. It's really nice. Okay, so as I looked up in the dictionary what clutter is, it says it's a collection of things lying about in an untidy mass. And, as you go into your home, You could even, if you were taking pictures around your home, what areas would be those areas to start in? And I know you know them right off the top of your head. You don't have to take pictures physically because you've already taken pictures mentally and emotionally, and you know which areas kind of trigger you. um, but as you get that clutter out and those things that are extra, that are filling the space that you don't love or don't use or don't need, it's going to feel so good. Like we're getting to the point now. We've got a little playhouse, and the kids have kind of grown to the point where they're not playing in it. They'd rather play out in the front yard with their friends, tossing a football or things like that. So we're ready to pass that on. And it's not bad. I mean, sometimes you have a little moment of sentimentalness. I don't know what the word is. You get sentimental about it. And as you've got these feelings kind of coming up, then it's okay. It's okay to like have that feeling for a moment and have that memory or that almost like you want to hold on to when your kids were little or those kinds of things. But then it's okay to like celebrate and thank that item. Hey, thank you for being a part of my child's life. Thank you for those memories. Thank you for maybe a person who gave that to your kids for Christmas or a hand-me-down or whatever. And then you can pass it on with joy instead of, grumbling or almost being angry about having that in your space or frustrated with it. But, sometimes we do get frustrated by all the things in our space. But if we can remember to like let things go and let them go with some grace and gratitude, grace for ourselves as we're letting go, and gratitude for those items for things that they have done for us or a place that they held in our heart or something that they served for us, then that can bring more joy into the experience too. So let's just review. Today's a quick session. It's not a real long one. It's super simple. It's all about 15 minutes, picking an area, doing 15 minutes a day. Last week, we're just going to review. We talked about getting a picture possibly of what you want your space to look like. So maybe in the beginning, your 15 minutes is decluttering that area. And then maybe the next step you're doing is, okay, I want to organize this. So maybe I need to get online and find some containers or a way or a look that I want for this area. So maybe your 15 minutes is searching Pinterest or Amazon for products or whatever, maybe going to a store that's close because you want them today and you want to get this done today. So maybe you're at Target or Walmart or wherever. And so you're just trying to figure out how can it function better. So sometimes you can even count those 15 minutes as shopping or 15 minutes as browsing to figure out what would be good or finding those pictures that you like. And then other times the 15 minutes is doing the actual work of decluttering and then organizing it all together once you have your materials, or beautifying and getting something that kind of spruces it up, maybe a plant or something for that area that just brings out a fun feel. So, okay. So the challenge this week is to not only know your area that you're working in, your area that needs some more love and beautifying and attention and organizing, but then you take that 15 minutes a day of organizing, decluttering, and beautifying, whatever you choose, 15 minutes a day in that area, and it can change your life and your home for the better. So remember to go join our Order in October Facebook group, and we'll help you with accountability. You can celebrate your successes. Even if your action step is shredding some paper, you can take a picture of the paper you shredded and be like, I shredded paper for 15 minutes. That's great. And so coming up in the next little bit, we'll talk some more about our feelings towards our home and the way we talk to ourselves about our organizational skills. We're going to talk some more about different types of organizers and what type of organizer that we are. There's a lot of good things still coming up this month to look forward to. And I may have a guest speaker or two too. So it'll be fun to keep diving into our organizing and our Order in October. Join our Facebook group, Order in October, And before I go, I wanted to share an oops moment. This one was a funny one. This happened this morning with my kiddos. So went down, woke everybody up, and went back down, and they're on their Chromebook, those blasted Chromebooks, right? The school has provided for them so nicely. But my kids get on them kind of whenever they want sometimes, and I don't love that. Anyway, but they're on their Chromebook, and I say to them, okay, what are you guys doing? And right before that, when I had woke him up, my one son had said, I lost my necklace. He got this is my 5th grader. He got a necklace from his elementary school for running the morning mile. And every certain number of laps, they get a little kind of charm. It looks like a key. They put it on their necklace, and I think it helps them keep track of how far they've gone. So his necklace was missing, and he was just wearing it last night. So I'm thinking, okay, what'd you do with it? Is it in the bathroom on the counter? Is it with your clothes that you took off when you had a bath last night, like inside the shirt? Did you leave it upstairs? Did you leave it, we're trying to figure out. So in my mind, those would be my ideas. So when I went down and they're all in a Chromebook, I'm like, what's going on? And older brother says to 5th grade brother, this is 7th grade brother says to 5th grade brother, or to me, I'm helping 5th grade brother look for his necklace. And here they are on the internet. I'm like, oh yeah, you're helping him look for his necklace on the internet. He goes, yeah, look, I found one right here he can buy. And I just was laughing so hard, because I was like, okay, that's kind of the solution sometimes, is like, we don't want to look through our home and deal with what's here. We'd rather just like go get another one. He didn't want to sift through his laundry and go check the counters. He did check the counter in the bathroom. I think that was his go-to. And when it wasn't there, he's like, okay, it's gone forever. So anyway, it just made me laugh, because this new generation helping their brother find a necklace is shopping online, right? Anyway, so we can all relate. Sometimes it's like, oh, it's just easier to go get another one, and that works. And it's funny how techie our kids are. And it's like, okay, sometimes let's be hands-on. Let's look through the laundry piles. Let's see if we can find it before we go order another one. But okay. Good luck as you get hands-on this week, and you get in and you do your 15 minutes every day, and join us on Order in October, and we will help support you as you're moving through your projects for the month. Awesome. Thanks, everybody. Hope you have a wonderful week. Talk to you next week.